Hey, Brittany.
Hi, Cassie.
Hey, Snarkers. Welcome back to the Snarking Lot. Brittany, what's up on this fine day?
Not much. How are you?
I'm just fine. Just taking in the world. Updates each and every moment of each and every day, you know?
Yes.
You got any
Yes.
musings on that? Any thoughts?
Uh, it's almost like people could have predicted this if, you know, just used logic
Yeah, I
aired,
mean,
but
totally.
or it was the plan all.
Hey. Ooh. Ooh. That's my
There is
response to
not a
that.
big enough bowl of popcorn that I'm gonna be able to make to just sit back and watch.
So true. I watched like 4 hours of ABC News this afternoon after another big
Oh, why
announcement
would you
came
do that to yourself? Why would you do
because
that
out
to
of
yourself?
all the streaming options for news that I have available on my Roku, it's the best, which is not saying a lot. So, you know,
Ugh.
whatever. Just trying to watch things with
You'd be
my own
better off
eyeballs.
outside and sticking your head in a yeah, yeah. You'd be
But
better off going outside and sticking your head in a heap of elephant shit. But
um I just got a big image of Jim Carrey coming out of the rhino's ass in Ace Ventura when you said that for whatever reason, just so you know.
only off quoted, part of Jurassic Park where they pull up in the Jeep. Jeff Goldblum says that is one big pile of shit.
Yes.
Hmm.
Thank you. That's
Hmm.
perfect actually. You've hit the
Hmm.
right niche. Um we're living through a heaping pile of shit, that's for sure. That's for sure. On the note of mental health, how's yours doing today?
Okay, same as usual.
Yeah.
How about you?
Same as usual. The social media purge, as noted last time, is still helping. Um,
Okay.
but it's getting harder and harder as things get crazier and crazier.
Can't
All the
escape it.
things.
Can't
Yeah.
escape it.
I did go on to fake because I do it lightly for purposes like this, as I noted, and I did come across a hysterical cat video that made me happy, so that was a good plus of being on social media. Cute animal
There you
videos.
go. One of the few bright things, animal videos, animal memes, animal gifs.
Yeah, I did which is how I think this is related to mental health. It might be helping my mental health is drinking more water, so I actually feel like a human being, as I noted. And so I bought a knockoff. What are those ones that everyone's buying for like $400 cups? The 40-ounce Stanleys?
Uh,
Stanleys?
Stanley. Yes.
Yeah, I bought a $14 knockoff Stanley at Walmart and in lavender in a lovely lavender color, and so I drank like 87 ounces of what I estimate to be 87 ounces of water each day the last 2 days. So
How are we feeling? How are our minds feeling?
feeling much like my tomato plant, like after it was like droopy and dry, and then like I watered it, and like 2 hours later it looked normal again. Like I'm like 2 hours after the water, and I feel normal again.
Your cells are at equilibrium finally. You've paid
Uh-huh.
rent to the bathroom. Everything.
I have. Yeah, it's great. That's great to feel not like a
Your
zombie,
body's
and you're
like,
like,
oh, this is
wow.
what it's like.
Yeah,
Yes. The
yeah.
fatigue is hopefully diminished. Your body's like, whoa, this is what it's like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Having a little supplemental
Yeah.
water in my snarking mug. Um,
Yeah,
so
I find there's really real value in a nice a millennial emotional support water bottle.
yeah, mine was definitely bought out of emotional support. There was something about the big cup in a nice color that I love that I thought this will make me actually do it for a consecutive period of,
Round, you like being seen with it.
yeah.
like big enough that actually it's not one of those where it's like 10 ounces that you got to keep refilling every other minute. Like
Right.
it's actually got some heft to it.
Yep.
Hmm.
He's got to pound back two of them, and I will have accomplished the goal of the water ounces that I need in a day, right? So like two, like you say, versus like eight. Yes. It's great.
Side note, I had no idea. So I got maybe a couple of years ago, I got a Stanley, one or two of them. So I got like a big one that's almost like it's got the nozzle that flips. It's like 50 gallons. And then I've got, or 50 gallons, 50 ounces. Holy, I
Yeah.
wish 50 gallons. It's a trough. And then one of the stereotypical ones that everyone thinks of, it's like a mint green one.
Yep.
And I bought them and I was like, yeah, because I threw out a couple like other really old water bottles, which is kind of gross. And got 'em, and someone made fun of them, like, oh, Stanley. And I was like, what? What about it? And then just a few months later, I started seeing like to like all the things, and I still see it to this day. Like if I'm in Target going by, they have a display of them, and it's like limit two per customer. Like, what?
Right?
And yeah, I started watching these people. It's like people that go after the oh, what is it? It's something done or whatever. It's it's like the mugs and all the stuff with that one font of writing on it
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
that people lose their minds over, that apparently like people, like there are entire Facebook groups on social media being like, I saw something here at this store and at this store and they have this in stock. And yeah, I was introduced to the Stanley tumbler craze and I went, wow,
Yeah.
okay. Um, sure. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was uh, I'm glad. I think you're smart to go with the knockoff one. Like
It's
just
the same idea. It's the
it
same
is the same
size,
idea.
looks the same. It has the
Yeah.
same like nice soft texture on the outside, is from what I've been able to glean from the internet. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
There's
except, the one thing that Matt was like, excuse the language, snarkers, was like, and where the are we gonna store that? Because like you can't stand it up in the cupboards that we have, right? So it's
no.
like it's got to have its own special little home somewhere on the counter, um, and take out the straw. It has to be like strawless and on the counter to fit anywhere. So
Here's the
yeah,
point though. You never store it. You always have it with you.
that's true. That is very true. It's like this is like my emotional support water
Carry it with you.
consumption tool, and it is going to be with me most of the day.
It's
So
attached to you like a phone holder on a middle-aged man. Like it's holstered, it's by you, it's carried with you from room to room.
yeah, I feel like this Stanley thing could be incorporated into like those my favorite progressive commercials, like where the guy like teaching millennials how not to become their parents. Like, but this could be like Gen Zers teaching us how not to become something else. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Stanley is like the next talking point for like generational like lessons to be learned. Does that make sense? I feel like that's what I feel like.
Yeah, because I mean, I have a variety of, I've got some Nalgene, I've got a Yeti one or two, I've got Camelback, like I've got a variety of stuff, and I don't ever recall like the craze making news over anything the way that Stanley tumblers did. I'm like, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
if you're drinking more water, cool, but I feel like people who have like tons and tons of them, what are you doing? Like, you're not really using
Yeah.
them. There's no way you're
Right.
using them all. So what's the point, right? They're bigger, they're oddly shaped. If you're getting the cup holder ones, like they're too big. Like you have to have a special, most houses or apartments probably don't have a nice cabinet that stores them all. You got to store them somewhere weird. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you really, unless
Totally.
you have one in every room, like you really only have one at a time you're using. So,
You have one in every room. But
but
you
like,
bring up Yeti though. Like I had a like I don't it was not influencers weren't all over it, but definitely like there was like a trend where my coworkers all got and wanted Yetis. Like the regular sized ones for like hot or cold, hot or cold, like the ones that are like $30 a pop or whatever. Like there was a period where everyone wanted one and maybe everyone wanted like the light turquoise one. So, but it wasn't like every influencer in the history of time like promoting them on their stories.
no, no, I don't, yeah, I was like, why that? I mean, I
Right?
get that it's nice for the cup holder, but again, they're not very ergonomical as far or like, for bringing with you in places, they're not easy to store. Whereas a Yeti, some of those other ones where it's just the tumbler and like a nice flat lid, like a lot easier to take those places and hold. And I don't know. I've
I,
like, okay.
yeah.
Or
Here's
just
what I will
still.
not do. Like I say, like, Yeti coolers are all the rage. Like I love like the Yeti turquoise cooler. But have I said this to you on this podcast or in general? Under no circumstance will I buy a $250 cooler. If I win it in a drawing or someone gives it to me as a gift, we'll accept it. But will I expend the money to buy the Yeti cooler? Absolutely fucking not. So that's my hard line in the sand on like drink related to like really expensive things that don't need to be expensive. That's one of them.
Right. I couldn't see doing it unless I couldn't justify because I don't get enough use out of it. I don't camp enough. I don't
Yeah.
do enough group stuff outside where it would be constantly in use, and I would need something durable, high quality.
Yeah.
So now my dream is to win one.
Yeah.
More because
I want
otherwise
to win one.
they're pretty, but no.
Oh, totally pretty. And they're great. Like they work really well. Everyone's all the rage on like they work super awesome.
Mhm.
So I would accept one, but
Well,
I will. And even if I become rich, which will never happen, but even if I were to become like stupidly rich, like those would be things I still would never buy. You know what I mean? Like it'd just be like, why would you waste the money on something you could get for $50? Like why would you pay 300? Like that just doesn't like the math doesn't math, you know?
we're just trying to vie for some free Yeti coolers on this podcast.
You damn right we are. So we are going down a path here, Brittany. We're talking about drink cups, we're talking about beverage
Mm-hmm.
super lightly, and now we're like coolers. So I'm gonna just like again, I have my camera off for us YouTubers out there because of like bandwidth issues. But right now I'm doing like a little dance of me like dancing down the street, just doing a little jig into this topic, which builds off last time's topic, which is let's talk all things Wisconsin food, restaurants, places to eat. Love. It's gonna be mostly food, little bit drink. But like we say, last time we were like places to go in Wisconsin, all the things to see and do through our little bestie lens, as we like to call it. But today we're just talking eateries. I mean, we're famous for a lot of things here in this great state, like cheese, beer, supper clubs, old fashions, all the things. But we're going to talk about our absolute favorites. Also, things we're ashamed, like places we're ashamed that we've not been yet, right? Like there's like a little source of Wisconsinite shame. So with that said, Brittany, I'm gonna ask you the biggest question of the evening, which is what is your absolute favorite place to eat in Wisconsin? Someone backs you into the corner and they're like, Brittany, you only can go one more place to eat. Like you have to choose your favorite Wisconsin place to eat. What are you gonna say?
So it was going to be Paisans, which was an Italian restaurant in Madison that was open for many, 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 many years, but it's been closed for a while, and I don't know if it's temporary or permanently closed. So, uh, but that would be the overall one. So I will say Casablanca is my other one, and that
Oh,
is a Mediterranean restaurant. There's a location out in Brookfield, but there is one in downtown Milwaukee. So Mediterranean fare, really good.
Mediterranean
They have
fare.
lunch buffet, very good. What about
Hmm.
you?
Brittany, we don't have to have the same answers on this podcast, but I have to admit, like, I think my heart is a little broken that you're going with Mediterranean fare when you have like such another good option for iconic food that you know is going to come out of my mouth. If someone's like, Cassie, you can only eat one more place for the rest of your life, or what's your favorite place of all time? It is hands down. I will fight people about this. The Glarner Stube in New Glarus. Glarner Stube is an authentic Swiss restaurant that is like iconic for both it's kind of like hole in the wall looking nature, right? Like it's super crowded, like it's like tight space, like really small, like very cozy, right? But then the food is I can't put it to words. Like the food, the fondue, great. Almost lit my hair on fire once with the fondue pot at the Glarner Stube. That's not a commentary on the Glarner Stube. That was just like a fluke, but like my long hair that was down to my butt, like almost caught on fire because there was like a little too much gas coming out of the valve was open a little too far. Let's just put it that way. But all was well. But then roasty potatoes are like hash brown potatoes, but it's like the cheese is in the middle and they're like toasted to perfection on each side. So it's like a big slab of like potatoes with Swiss cheese in them. And if they have a prime rib sandwich special, like you have to get that. Like there's just no, Brittany can tell right now she's smirking. Like there's like, I will fight people about how great this restaurant is.
I'll put it this way. My family from Switzerland has come over. We've taken them there and they liked it.
Wow. Are you serious?
Hmm?
Okay. See, how are you not like you're not exuding like like just like heightened emotional state when saying that? Like I don't know what's wrong with you right now.
Well, I like it. I'm not a great Wisconsinite in terms of a lot of the
Brittany.
foods and stuff. Like like Swiss stuff, some Swiss stuff. German food, can take it or leave it. That's why there's an iconic place in Milwaukee that I've been. I was like, this is just not like, give me Italian, give me Mediterranean, give me other stuff over it. But I will say, if I'm gonna have to do Swiss, German, something or other, the Glarner Stube is the place to go. I've never had anything better
I
anywhere.
would love to get someone on here from a Glarner Stube so they can clarify the pronunciation of the restaurant because my Swiss grandma like went to her grave calling it the Glarner Stube. And I
Mhm.
don't know if that's right or not, but I don't care what it is. It's Glarner, Stube, whatever. You
I believe
have
it translates.
to go
I
there.
believe it translates to the living room. Isn't that the translation?
I think you're right. I think you're right. Yes. Which is fitting because of like we say the very tight nature of the dining room space in that restaurant. Like literally, I'm hungry right now talking about this. Like this whole entire episode is gonna make me hungry, but like I want roasted potatoes so bad right now. You have no idea, friends out there in the Snarkiverse. All right, so what are other places that you feel are clearly Wisconsin iconic that you think everyone needs to go to at least once?
So there's uh speaking of tiny intimate places, because it's a converted house and it's just part of the downstairs. There's a place called Solly's Grill in Milwaukee. Um Bar food, they have brunch food, milkshakes. Think of it like a custard. oh, Think of it kind of like Culver's stuff, but they have hands down the best butter burger I've ever had.
Mm.
Like all their burgers, like I went there with some friends once and some of them were eating it and it was just coming down. It's just
Are you
running
literally
down.
talking about like grease and butter dripping down your forearms right now? Is
Real
that what you're
butter. Yeah,
doing?
it's slathered in
Butter.
actual butter. It's a butter burger and it's
Love.
real butter, really good milkshakes. Again, one of those like there's grilled cheese, there's all kinds of stuff. Like I don't think you
Yeah.
can make a wrong thing. Like it's literally like a diner type thing where it's like a windy counter and that's
Yep.
it. So you have to kind of go in and time it and try and find like a couple stools that are open or however many for your group are split up because there's not many seats in the place, but it's
Love
delightful.
it.
Um,
Love.
I think another one, which I know is probably going to come up later on, I'll probably have for some other answers or things we talk about, but the old fashioned on the
Oh
square in
yeah,
Madison.
of course, of course. Oh, of course,
Yeah.
of
So
course.
good drinks, good food, good cheese curds.
Mm,
Again, like I've never had a bad meal there, burgers, pub fare, salads, anything like that. So
nice.
nice thing. It's got two bars, two rooms, two bars in it.
That's
So
right.
adequate for all times of day or evening, should you be partaking in it.
Mm,
Those are the big iconic ones that kind of come to mind for me that I think two of the ones that people should visit. I'll have some other ones down the line
yeah,
here, but what about you? Where are
that's a
some of
solid
those
two. That's a really solid two, for sure.
must
Oh,
visit?
must visit. So, Brittany, I've laid my heart on the line with my first answer of like the Swiss fare of the Garnischtube. So I'm gonna like lay my heart on the line again by saying like you have to go to Baumgartner's in Monroe. Baumgartner's is a cheese shop slash restaurant right on the square in Monroe in Greene County. It's also the home of, Monroe is the home of Cheese Days Festival, which we talked about last time. So you have to go to Baumgartner's and you have to have a Limburger cheese sandwich. Now, I know I just said Limburger, everyone, and you're like, that is the most disgusting stuff on the face of the planet, which I know. Like, do you really want to eat something that smells like, I mean, to bring up rhinos from before, like a rhino fart? Like, you know, no, probably not. But cheese sandwiches are like cheese sandwiches are their thing. Like, but if you want to go truly authentic, like, signature Baumgartner's, you got to get a Limburger cheese sandwich and it comes with Andy's mince because you have to eat the mince after you eat Limburger cheese, obviously,
And why would that be, Cassie?
because it reeks. Because it's the most disgusting smelling cheese, in case anyone is not aware. It's just so gross. My mom and my grandma, two very faithful Swiss people, loved Limburger cheese. And my mom would bring home a block of Limburger cheese in its foil wrapping and set it on the counter to allow it to warm up because that was the way to make it taste better to her and my grandma. Now, that if you live in I don't know what square footage our house was, I mean, 1,000 square feet might be generous, but like that will make your entire very modest home smell like Limburger cheese, like letting it warm up on your counter. So
Yeah, well,
Baumgartner's. Baumgartner's.
we should sell Limburger cheese candles.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would go with like, the dumpster fire theme of like 2024. So,
Yeah, yeah. Limburger
dumpster
cheese
fire
bills
candle.
and candles.
I like it. Now, help me, Brittany. Baumgartner's has like throw money onto the ceiling and get it like stuck on the ceiling, and then that like raises money for a cause. Are you aware of this, or are you making a confused face? Am I going to be the only one that's going to be able to talk about this?
I haven't been there very much, so no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so like
Or when I don't know that I paid attention to it.
Baumgartner's like at different times will have just like money stuck to the ceiling. Like there's just like a boatload of like cash stuck to the ceiling, and it's like you throw it up, and anyway, like eventually, like whatever gets stuck, they bring down periodically, and then they donate it to things. So that's like another thing. Like the ceiling of Baumgartner's is usually covered with money. Whatever.
That's cool.
Um, so I have like three more that I'll go through quickly. Like I feel like I have to say Kopp's frozen custard in Milwaukee, like that diner, feel whatever. Been there many times with family, not many times, but like as many times as I've been in Milwaukee. Usually when we go to a burger game, we also make a little trip over to Cops Roast Custard. Great burgers, great custard, all things. But then Norsky Nook. Brittany, have you been to Norsky Nook on your travels across the state?
I have gotten like pie to go from there.
Pie, that's the key. So Norsky Nook, I learned this just from my Googling to make sure I knew what the hell I was talking about. Like there's the one I have been to in Osseo, which is in between Black River Falls and Eau Claire. But then there's like two other locations in Wisconsin, like one of which I think is DeForest maybe, and then another one somewhere else. But anyway, yes. So like Norwegian food, like Norwegian and American, really comfort food, but they are probably most famous for their bakery and specifically their pie. The best pie other than my grandma's that I've had in my life was at Norsky Nook, strawberry rhubarb, that literally made me feel like I was going to die, like out of happiness. So that. And then for like a steakhouse, the Tornado in Madison
Hmm.
off the square. I would never have gone there myself, but I had the privilege of going there as part of like a work outing, and it was amazing. Like the steaks, the wedge salads,
Mhm.
like to die for. So I'm talking about dying a lot in this episode. I mean it all out of happiness. Like I will die from being so happy about what I'm eating. So those are mine.
Tornado's good. I went there. To eat, I've been there once, and it was summer after I graduated when I was working in Madison. I did for downtown dining and restaurant week, whatever Madison calls it, because I always get it confused with what Milwaukee calls
Mm,
theirs. But
mm-hmm,
it's like, ah yes, here's my chance to get a much more expensive meal for a little bit
mm,
less. And
mm-hmm.
so yeah, I went there and I was like, this is delightful. I've had drinks there because it was a stop on the Main Street bar crawl, but
Yeah,
yes, the food is top notch. Very, very
top
good.
notch. And the atmosphere is very much like a trip, like a, like kind of like you're not smoking in there because you can't anymore, but kind of like imagine like, like back in the day when you could smoke, you probably had people like smoking in there, like kind of dark, like loungy feel. Like it's
Yes.
it's very classic feel. Like you're in kind of like an experience. Like I kind of attribute it to like I'm sitting in like a Mad Men set,
Mhm.
kind of a little bit. Does that make sense? That's how
Yep.
I feel when I was there.
And they did have an outdoor space down in the back, like a few tables. Like you had to go, I think
Oh,
you had to go out and like go down some stairs and go out in the back, I believe, if I'm thinking of the place
okay.
correctly, where we went. I don't know if they still do that because I haven't been there in many years, but yeah, like a little with like some overhead lights and stuff. So that was like obviously in the summer or for extra seating when it was busy, but I did like the inside. Yes, like leather booths, nice big long bar with leather back chairs, high tops, just really, really nice. Really nice.
Love it. Yeah. That, ugh, yeah. Awesome. Okay. So this is going to be the embarrassing part, Brittany. We talked about this beforehand. So we're both lifelong Wisconsinites. We like to think we know some of the things about Wisconsin, but like what are a place or places that you like literally hate to admit or are ashamed to admit you've never been to in the eating space for the Badger State?
So one that actually comes to mind in the Milwaukee area is the West Dallas Cheese and Sausage Shop. I see
Mm.
people repeatedly tag it, and I'm like, it's not that far from me. Why have I not gone? Or I'll be down in the area for something and I'll see the sign. I'll be standing outside of it. Of course, it'll be after hours, so I can't go in. But I'm like, oh yeah, why don't next time I want some cheese or sausage or a nice charcuterie board? Why don't I go down there and get some stuff like very, very well renowned. Another one. I mean, again, it's more finer dining, and I haven't taken advantage of it in probably in the restaurant weeks or something when I should have. But I've gotten gift cards for people to these places, but I've never gone. But every time I gift card, I'm like, why don't I go here more? But there are a lot of restaurants that are part of what's called the Bartolotta Group around the Milwaukee area. Big Italian family, but they own a lot of different ones. So there's some more scale Italian restaurants, and there's some like not really Italian centric restaurants that they have around southeast Wisconsin. Some of them closer to the lake and things like that. And every time I buy them, I'm like, oh, even just for lunch or something. Like, why? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've I've done again, was for the downtown dining thing. I've done lunch at the Pfister Hotel, but I've never done like a dinner there.
Mm.
Iconic hotel downtown, haunted supposedly. Um, they have a bar at the top called the Blue Room, and it's a 360 view of downtown that you can go to. A lot of very iconic ones. So a lot of sports teams and things stay there when they're in Milwaukee. But yeah, they have some pretty well-known entrees for dinner, just never gone. And then I know you'll get into this, but I must say, other than the Norseman supper in Argyle, I have not
Mm.
been to any supper clubs in Wisconsin. So I'll just
Mm.
turn to the Wisconsin card now.
Yeah, that's
But
that's a segue.
I know I see like there's a book in bookstores. It's like supper clubs of Wisconsin, and I paged through it, and I'm like, nope, none. Have no memory of any of these around the state. These. So having that
I
segue in,
know.
Cassie,
I
what are
know. I
some of the food
know.
you have regrets
Mm,
about
yeah.
visiting?
I have big ashamed regrets about not having gone. I think you're right about maybe perhaps I've never been to a formal traditional supper club in Wisconsin. Something that's
Yeah.
like close, that's kind of like supper club-esque, but I don't know, like the ones I've been to would be defined as like classic supper clubs. With that said, I've never been to the Ishnala near the Dells,
Nope.
which feels like some sort of crime, to be honest. Um, it feels dirty, to be able to say I've lived in Wisconsin and pretty close to the Dells my whole life, depending, no matter where I've lived, I've been pretty close to the Dells and like never gone there. It's just so I actually feel like full body shame as saying it out loud on this podcast. I really do. Like I feel like I need to go like make it up now, like in the next few months. Um,
Oh,
but being Badgers, Brittany, like you and I both went to UW-Madison, and I never sat down and physically ate a meal at State Street Brats.
oh.
Like I was there, but I didn't eat.
I did a few times. I would actually sometimes go by myself at lunch. That was the key because there would be
Did you?
not many people there, and you can have
Mm-hmm.
a pick of it and eat when it's not crazy. I mean, spicy brats were good.
Yeah.
I never really
So the-
ventured outside of that, like that and some waffle fries.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That one just feels like a cardinal, like a daily cardinal sin, pun intended. Wah, 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 wah. CW Madison reference for all you friends out there. If you don't get it, it's okay. The Daily Cardinal is one of the two newspapers at UW Madison. Get it? So it's like a before and after. Didn't anyway. And then my last one, because obviously, like I'm a cheese making heritage, cheese aficionado, all the things. Never been to Fromagination on the square in Madison, which is like a cheese shop. Are you shaking your head like you don't know what that is, or you're shaking your head because I haven't gone there?
I had to look it up. Because I've heard of it. I've never been there.
Yeah, it's
I didn't
really
even know it was
classic.
located there. I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's right there. Nope, never been.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad about it. My uncle has been there and says it's fantastic, and he's on the side of the family with the cheese aficionados. So I feel bad. Yeah, and locally, so I live near Sparta right now. I feel bad that I have never gone to Rudy's drive-in. So like a classic drive-in. There's like
Nice.
a main one in La Crosse, and then there's one in Sparta. And like literally like anytime I'm in Sparta, I'm driving right past it and I just have never eaten there, and it just like feels so stupid. Like it's kind of like you're saying like you have a gift card for something and you're just like, why have I not done this? And it's just like I've never done it, and it's like right there for me to do. I don't even have to divert off my path to like going and getting groceries or anything. Like I could just stop, and I don't. So,
I think you should do that next time you have to people and put up with the awfulness that is a grocery store or a
mm,
Walmart. I think you should treat yourself and you should stop at Rudy's.
treat yourself.
Treat yourself for peopling.
Yeah, for being out in public, you deserve a reward.
Yeah, you deserve a reward navigating the hellscape that is a grocery store on a Saturday morning.
You deserve a reward for like being normal. Yeah, I like it. I like that philosophy. That's great.
You deserve a reward for being able to navigate aisles correctly, unlike a
This is
lot of
true.
people in the
This is very
stores.
true.
So
Oh man, you're so right. Okay, so let's go to less widely known. Now, I want to quantify my definition of less widely known. I think in some cases, things that I'm going to talk about, I think like locally or regionally, they might be known, but I'm talking about like things that you would never get by like, you just Google like best restaurants in Wisconsin and it comes, like the top 10 come up. Like they're never going to come up in those. Local people might know them, but like the broad public is maybe not gonna get it. So like, what do you think are those like less widely known, but like you must kind of check them out, go see what they're about?
Yeah, I've got a few. So there's a couple. I think they're actually owned by the same people. There's two restaurants in Sheboygan that are Italian restaurants, but the one I've gone to is Il Ritrovo. And so it's wood-fired pizza and pasta. Um, it's more authentic, like a lot of seafood, more authentic Italian fare. Mink River Basin in Ellison Bay in Door County. It's
Mm.
it's pub fare. I mean, it looks like it's in this like big long white building, kind of, you know, where you look at it and you're like, there, that's a bar. Okay. But you go in and it's like dark, there's sports memorabilia everywhere. You 100% know it's where people gather for all the Packer games on Sundays. Um, Sports bar, it's one of those things where the food comes to you in, there's the basket with the fake newspaper, wax paper,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
um, for it, but say for being like pub or just bar food, like really, really, really good. Um, for kind of breakfast or like a coffee shop type thing, I really like really random ones. So my God, Valentine Coffee, which they have a location in Milwaukee, but there's one in Wauwatosa, just like 5 minutes from me. Blue Horse Beach Cafe is, it's again, it's like a little cozy one because it's a converted house, but they have a really good brunch items and coffee. Um, Kind of moving into the Madison area. I think this one may come up if you Google it on like some of the top ones, but still, I didn't know about it for up to like well after I graduated college. But Monty's
Mm.
Blue Plate Diner,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
which is over kind of towards the east side off of campus. Again, like as the name says, typical diner food, really good milkshakes, really good breakfast or lunch or dinner type things. You really can't go wrong with any of that. Um, Cooper's Tavern, which the last few times I've tried to go when I've been in Madison or happened to, it's been closed. I'm like, whoa, but that is my favorite bar.
Mm.
In all of Madison, the food, like I've had the food a little bit, it's all right, but it's an Irish bar on the square. And so, nice kind of dimly lit, big long bar, a few tables. I think there is an upstairs. They have like Irish Magners Irish cider on tap. There is a little room in the back they use for private parties where you like it's right off of the bar and the bartender will just hand stuff window, but it's reminiscent apparently of Irish bars in Ireland where they used to have that little room off the bar because back in the day women were not allowed in the bars to drink. And so when people noticed, like, let's say the police patrol would be coming in, that's where they would shove all the women and hide them. So they've built one like that in Cooper's Tavern. And it's just like a little private room. I don't know. We're talking like a table. Like, I don't know how many people can fit in there. It's not very many, like a little table, but it's supposed to be kind of supposedly like that, like kind of mimicking the bars in Ireland.
Mm. Nice. Yeah,
For
you've
all my
talked about
people in,
Coopers.
yeah, yeah. I really like it. It opened like my senior year in college. Or maybe
Okay.
towards, I don't know what it was before that, but yeah, I've gone there more like since college, but it's been a few years. And then if you're in the Neenah area, Lawless Coffee is really good. It's
Mm.
by the river kind of downtown area right there and other little good streets and stuff. I've done like a running loop kind of down there, around the loop along the river right there and stuff and crossing and then gone there. If you're in the Eau Claire area, Thai Orchid. It's one of
I
those like
Orchid.
looks like little hole in the wall dive place. Fantastic Thai food. Like local, family owned. You know it's legit. The people know what they're doing. And going back to Milwaukee or in the Tosa area, I would say Blues Egg, which is another diner. It's near the freeway. It's really popular, especially like a lot of, well, not only like most mornings. So if you go during the week, most mornings, you'll find a bunch of people because it's where like everybody, all the hospitals who just got off night shift goes and eats before they go home and sleep. Um, it's really popular before brewer games. So if there's like an 11 a.m. or a
Mm.
1 p.m. brewer game, it's filled with people. And it's popular. They have monkey bread, which is really, really good. The your pre food, your appetizer, little sweet treat. Bakery, really good coffee, different types of drinks. And then in the spring or summer and fall, when it's nice out, outside of it, they have a sitting area while you're waiting for your seat inside, and they have a Bloody Mary and mimosa bar. So
Oh
in
yeah.
true Wisconsin form, you can just sit out there and
Oh yeah.
have a little pre-brekkie drinking drink while you're waiting for it. So
Pre-brekkie drinky drink. How
yeah,
Wisconsin of you. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
pre-brekkie drinking drink. So yeah,
I
those are some of the ones that came to mind for me of maybe
love
lesser
that.
known places that I really like. So I'm gonna bounce it to you now. What are some ones maybe
Oh, come on.
people
Okay.
people wouldn't
All right.
know that you'd
All
like to
right.
get to?
Here's my first one. I will rave forever and a day about the Garden of Eden in Galesville. If you're not familiar where Galesville is, it is in Trempealeau County, like in between, like, you know, I'll just say like on Alaska and Alma, I guess. I don't know if you're like totally unfamiliar. Maybe that's a way to orient yourself. But Garden of Eden is just like a super small cafe, great breakfast food, great lunch food. Owners are amazing. Love, love, love. Shout out Garden of Eden. But the thing about the Garden of Eden is the skillets. The skillets are out of this world fantastic. Like just like and unique skillets. I can go on for hours, but I used to eat there when I, was at my different job because I had, would need to go visit Galesville. And so we'd have, coworkers and I would have lunch, the Garden of Eden, and just fantastic. I also am going to give like a very personally based shout out to how they handled their operations during COVID and took way more precautions. Um, for a lot longer than a lot of establishments during COVID. Like we're doing like carry out only for a lot longer. And I just like really respected that they did that and that they had so much respect in the community that people didn't really get upset about it either. So that's just like another like good peopling alert from me. But the skillet. If you love a good egg, potato, and good toppings with cheese skillet of varying assortments, you have to go to Galesville and eat there. Then, Brittany, I don't know if you ate here because it's close to where we grew up, Red Rooster in Mineral Point.
I don't know that I have. I don't
It's like
think
on
I
the
have.
main street in Mineral Point. The reason I remember them is because my grandma would bring home pasties from the Red Rooster and
Hmm.
like bake them. So you could get them like unbaked, bring them home and bake them, or she would just like bring them home cooked, but like pasties, pasties, pasties. You can tell this is a really healthy episode as well. Um, do you want do you want butter dripping down your arms? Listen to this episode of the Snarking Lot. You know, just yeah, I'm doing it with you. You just can't see it. Um, and then this is probably kind of iconic, but like it was new to me when I experienced it because like I never really had eaten like explicitly Jewish food, like as being identified as like Jewish food as like you're eating this and it is explicitly Jewish, but Benji's Diner or Benji's Deli in the Milwaukee area. I think there's like two Benji's
Mhm.
locations, and I think the one I went to was probably the Shorewood one. Um, but like authentic Jewish deli. They're amazing. Amazing, 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 amazing. Um, and then Brittany, you might claim that this is iconic and I just don't know it, but I visited you one time prior to a flight out of Milwaukee, and we may or may not have went to dinner at an Italian restaurant that prior evening. Um, and speaking of dripping, like the garlic bread at this place, literally like you could squeeze butter out of the garlic bread, and let's just say like, I'm gallbladderless, friends. I'm just gonna admit it out loud on this podcast. I'm gallbladderless, so things that are quite greasy or buttery can have an effect on one, and it created an effect, but it didn't damage the love of the food. So what's the name of that restaurant, Brittany, so I get it right?
Barbieri's.
Okay. Do you define it as iconic for people in Milwaukee area or like in general, or is it kind of like a lesser known ish?
I don't know, it might be lesser known-ish. A lot of people I know prefer it over so the Bartolotta restaurants like Bartolotta's Italian restaurant. Um they have different bistros and things like that. Like they tend to be the ones that everybody thinks of, but it's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people who really like that big stuff. go to Barbieries. Like it looks again,
Okay.
and it's kind of at the right it's not very far from Miller Park. Um it's kind of on the top of a street, but it's right backs up against a lot of like a neighborhood. So like a lot of houses and stuff right there. It's in a small building, a very dark, kind of dimly lit Italian
Yeah,
place.
dimly lit. Yep,
Yep.
definitely.
So it's probably lesser known. Like I don't see it making a lot of lists, but I think a lot of people again who maybe think that don't like Bartolotta's as well, or think if they want to go somewhere that's less well known or maybe less busy, they'll go to Barbieries. Well, Barbieries gets busy.
Yeah.
'Cause again, it's
It was
not there's
busy
not
when we were there. We waited a while
yeah,
that
there's
night we
not very
went.
much seating. It's again, it'll be busy before sporting events or just even on like Sundays or even random weeknights they'll get busy. I get carry out from them quite a bit. Or
Nice.
like I want to do carry out. Um,
It was amazing. Like, but
so
that garlic bread is dangerous. Like, it's dangerous. Like, both for your arteries and your intestines if you have intestinal issues. So, like, just watch
uh,
it, enjoy yourself, but be mindful is my message.
yes, enjoy it sparingly.
Yeah. I mean, don't eat like 4 pieces and then expect to like feel good
No,
afterwards,
just do 1.5 to 2, like what I do.
one and a half to two.
No, just get one, or I like to get two and then like one. It's very good to
Yeah.
dip in your pasta, or
Okay, I
pasta
have a
sauce.
follow-up question on your list. So, were any of those places you mentioned where so I know we had breakfast at a more famous place, but like whatever time I was there and it was more of like a small cafe breakfast that we had. Do you remember? Like like not where we had bloodies, like the other place where we did not have bloodies, where we had breakfast or brunch or something.
Cafe Hollander.
That I know that one. That's not what I'm talking about because that's where we had bloodies.
Was it Blue's Egg?
I
No.
think it's blues. I thought it was blues egg.
Maybe
That's
it
why I
might have been
wanted to
Blue's Egg
ask.
or North Avenue Grill. I don't
I
think it was
feel like
North.
it was blues egg, maybe. I
Might have been Blue's Egg.
feel like it had blue in the title, so I wanted to ask you if
Probably
I'm
that.
remembering
Yeah. Then
correctly.
it was Blue's Egg.
Okay. That was amazing. I thought that was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that. Woot
Yeah.
woot. Okay, so I don't know. Before we we have a little game to play too. But before we go to that, Brittany, this is a shameless plug, but I feel like there are so many examples, but Wisconsin being the place that it is, let's just be real for alcohol consumption. The bars in Wisconsin have, I would argue, like much better food than your average bars. Like there are a lot of traditional taverns and bars that just have outstanding food where you
Mhm.
might not expect it, and like hole in the wall places or whatever. Like when we were growing up, for example, like our one of our downtown bars, which was then Marcine's,
Mhm.
like the best pizza you could probably ever eat in your life, like homemade pizza came, in my opinion, from Marcine's. Like we would get like taco pizza from Marcine's
Mhm.
on the regular, and it was fantastic. Just like piled high with toppings and things like that. So that's one. Um, but I think you can also get great fish fry like at bars. Like it's not like a formal restaurant. Like we would get takeout. I mean, even from like the bowling alley bar that had like great chicken wings and like great Friday night fish fry and stuff like that. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but I've always enjoyed traditional bar food in this state when I probably wasn't expecting to.
Yeah, I like pub. We've definitely gotten takeout from places downtown, Latcherville and Main Street, or
Yeah.
just if we happen to be traveling through somewhere or something, like, get carry out from somewhere, like you said, fish fries. Um, I've definitely still do that, around here. I haven't had a fish fry in a while, but there are places where I'm like, or I'll be like, oh yeah, next time I want one, like I should just come here and do takeout.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Totally.
Another place which sometimes again would like kind of necessarily sit in there was the dairy bar at Yellowstone Lake. If we happen to be on out there,
Yeah.
Yellowstone Lake State Park, or random little things. So yeah, I would say for necessarily Marcel's is like just a restaurant where it is attached to bar, where it is more bar centric. There are still, you can still get some really good. We'll have specials throughout the week. Um, for that, there's a lot of bars in Milwaukee that do that, with different things that you can just get takeout for something completely unrelated. So it is really nice.
Yeah. Okay, Brittany, I just had a thought problem in my head. I have to correct a previous statement of mine. So I have eaten
Breaking
at a
news.
breaking news. We're correcting. We're doing a correction. Supper club. Yes, I have been to at least one supper club. Castle Hill Supper Club in Jackson County, Wisconsin. So in between Black River Falls and Maryland off Highway 1227. So again, for like work related reasons, I would have been there a couple times. But great food, great prime rib, fantastic. So I have been to a traditional supper club. Now, if I had like a traditional supper club drink, again, I'm gonna admit this out loud. I hate to even admit this. I'm not big on the brandy old fashioned flavor. I'm just not really
Hey,
into them.
that's gonna come up later. Me neither.
Not really into it. I mean, I've had them because I feel like I need to as a Wisconsinite, but I'm not like, oh my goodness, I need to have this so many times.
Manhattan is the
Yeah.
way to go. You want a brandy drink? Drink a Manhattan. It's dry.
Yeah, it's too sweet for me. It's too sweet for me.
Yeah, that's why it's so funny. My parents and grandparents always drank Manhattans, and so I old fashioned was because it was maybe the waiter didn't listen and would bring a old fashioned. Like I always knew they were bigger. They came in bigger
Yeah.
because it's less liquor than a Manhattan. And just with all the bitters and everything done, and it came
Mm-hmm.
with cherry stuff. And so I never really realized old fashions were a big Wisconsin thing
Yeah.
until I think in college, and people going to the old fashioned restaurant and getting them. And I was like, oh, that like shitty drink.
I
Oh,
know.
oh, that's a big Wisconsin thing. Well, we're terrible. And then yeah, I've had I had a few. Um, it's probably been a good decade at least, but I had a few at different places.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
just to be like, well, maybe because I was never wowed with it. And I was like, yeah, it's too sweet. I'm like,
I will
okay.
say though, here's another plug for Leinenkugel's Brewery because it's my favorite beer comes from Leinenkugel's 100% of the time, all the time. They came out with a pre-made brandy old fashioned in a can from
Okay.
Leinenkugel's, and
Okay.
I bought those. They're available at Quick Trip. Shout out Quick Trip. You're gonna come up later too. You can buy them in like 4 packs at Quick Trip, like as one of the exclusive places to get it, and those are like not as sweet. It's a
That's
little
good.
fizzy and it's like much less sweet, and so I like those. But you got to watch the
Mhm.
alcohol content on those because they're up there. So I drink like a half of one very slowly at a time. But those that makes it enjoyable for me. But like the traditional supper club ones, I'm not
No.
pass.
Nope.
Yeah,
Give
I
me
know.
Manhattan, give me a gin and tonic, give me something else. Mm-mm.
I know. I feel like we're committing big Wisconsin crimes right now in this segment of the podcast, but
Oh, please.
what you
I
gonna
haven't even
do?
told anybody I don't like pickles, so there or sauerkraut. So there you I'll make it
That's
worse.
right.
Blech. Well, no, no,
And
no,
so I'm assuming this is true because if you don't like pickles, but like, have you ever had a fried dill pickle?
no. Why would I ruin my life like that more than I already
Because
have?
it kind of balances out the dill. Like it has like a nice salty, crunchy exterior,
That's
and you
fine
dip
until
them in ranch.
you get to the pickle. My issue is the pickle. Like I
Just
won't
the
even do a
pickle.
pickle. There's pickle beer now, and I'm like, why do we hate ourselves
Oh,
so
that's
much?
that's gross. Yeah, I mean I like pickles, but that's you taking it too far. Okay, so we gotta play a little game, Brittany. You ready for this game?
Hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna say a food and you can't think too much. You just gotta like say like what restaurant comes to mind or what place to eat that like comes to your mind first. And then I'll go right
Hmm.
after you. I'll make an effort to go right after you. Okay, so cheese curds.
Wisconsin Cheese Mart,
Fried or regular?
fried. If it's regular, s- Glarus Brewing Company, Glarus Brewery.
Okay,
And get them out of the
so oh
get them out of the
really?
freezer or you just
Really?
used to be able to last time I was there.
Okay. All right. Hot take. So regular cheese curds, Pasture Pride cheese store in Cashton, Munster cheese curds that are literally like the size of my palm. Um,
Nice.
best ever. So salty, so good. Fried, hands down, the waterfront in La Crosse is the most delectable fried cheese curd I've had in my life. The dipping sauce on the side also is great, but like just plain old, just melt in your mouth, just can't even, follow some of these influencers that talk about food on Instagram and they'll be like, what's the best place to like, eat cheese curds in Wisconsin? I'm like, waterfront in La Crosse. Why are you missing the
Nice.
waterfront? Okay. All right, you ready? Fried fish.
Bone, which I guess is technically a supper club it's right by Hollander. It's owned by the Lowlands
Okay.
Group, which owns Cafe Rosa. So I had a fish fry for the first time there last year,
Okay.
or maybe very early, maybe like in January of this year. No, I think it was December of last year.
Okay.
This is technically a supper club, so like we could say I've been to one other than Norseman, but yeah, good fish.
Okay.
Several different kinds of fish you can choose for your fish fry. Very good.
Okay. All right. Um, I think this is permanently closed. You can tell me if you know this for sure, Brittany, but Partridge Hall in Argyle, near
Think
where we
it.
grew up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's closed, but we got unique fried fish there. Like it was like kind of like I forget what the type of fish was, but it wasn't like big chunks. It was like thin pieces of fish, lightly breaded, had a nice,
Nice.
like, kind of peppery taste to the breading almost. Like, and fun fact, the meal that threw me over the edge into the gallbladder attack that ultimately like got me to get my gallbladder removed 14 years ago now, the meal I was eating that evening was from the Partridge Hall. Not because it was bad food, but the rest is history. Partridge Hall, fried food, fried fish meal. That was it.
They were good.
Gallbladder was like, we're done here. So
That's good marketing for them. I mean, that's not why they're closed. We should reiterate. It's not
yeah,
because
not why they're closed.
they
They have
caused
great food
they caused Cassie's gallbladder to have a coup. No, that's other things. But no, they were. That's right. They were really good. We would
and
go there
great.
sometimes for.
Yeah, like great we would get hash browns, you like what's potato side you'd pick with your fried fish meal, and we would always get I would get hash browns with Swiss cheese on top as an ad, and they were like
Yeah.
so good. So not open anymore, but that's like my best fried fish memory. Well, hands
Hmm.
down, like never can replace that. Okay, prime rib.
I hate prime rib. But I'll say
Okay, I'm slamming my drink cup down right now. You can't see it.
disgusting. I don't eat fat like that. Ugh. I don't like eating rubber. No,
Well, you're doing it
no.
wrong if it tastes rubbery, like you're at the
It
wrong
just you can feel it. It
place.
just the texture of the fat, disgusting. I don't know how people no. Like no. I want to be able to just cut into the steak and eat it. Like no. So I give you tenderloin like fillet recommendations because fillet is one of the few like only steaks I eat. Um
Brittany,
it's just nice.
I,
It's nice.
I know we're gonna
Disgusting.
be
I've
best
tried.
friends always, but like the fact that you don't like dill pickles and you also don't like prime rib is quite bothersome to me. Not gonna lie
You
to
can
you.
eat them all for me then. I uh
That's true.
I look at it as good. There's no competition. You can eat all the pickles and the prime
That's
rib.
true. You are a really good
I
friend.
will
You can
not
just be
fight
like,
you.
you can have all my pickles and be like, okay.
You can be one of the people when I go out, like, and I hate when they just serve you a pickle on the side because it's got the juice and it ruins your food. I'm like, get the away. And so I tend to just take it and throw it at the person. If I'm at a table with somebody, like, throw it at their food. Here, get away from me.
Yeah, I can be that
Or
person for you.
sometimes I ask them. Sometimes I will, if I know they like them, I just throw it at their dish.
Yeah.
Or I'll ask them, and if they don't like it either, I'll be like, I gotta like cover it up with a couple napkins and put it somewhere else. Ooh. But no,
Wow.
I don't understand. Like prime rib to me is just I get
Okay,
it's supposed to be
well,
a delicacy. I'm like to me, it's a waste of time.
okay, Brittany, like, wow.
I can tell
Like
you
I'm hanging my
tenderloin,
head.
like
I'm hanging my
oh
head right
God,
now.
no, I don't want to have to cut around stuff. I want to just eat the steak straight. I don't want to have to cut around everything.
Dude, okay, the best prime rib I've ever had, and I do like it, and so I've had it a time or two. Um, when I moved to Black River Falls, my mom and my brother came to visit me shortly thereafter, and we went to Repeats, which is a nice, just good standard American food restaurant in Black River Falls, Wisconsin. Great.
We went there,
Um,
right?
yes, that's the place
That
we
was the
went, only
pasta.
you
I
would
went
not.
pasta there.
You had
Yes.
pasta. Exactly. That's the place. Repeats.
Yes.
Fantastic. Melt in your mouth. If you like prime rib, melt in your mouth. Prime rib. Great. Fantastic. And their fish fry also. I will go back to fish fry like on Friday nights, at least when I used to go, it was like fish fry or prime rib. Cool. Hard to choose, but great.
There you go.
And so Repeats, prior to these owners owning it, like way back in the day, it used to be like Pete's something. So then when they bought it, they named it Repeats to be like a play on the past owner's name, and then also like repeat, like I'm repeating something, like doing it again. And I always thought that was fun. Anyway, okay, Brittany, here's your shot. Steak.
Well, two of the places I liked have been closed for like many, many, many years was the Peppercorn Cafe in Monroe and Fountain Jack's in Madison. So I would say Delaney's, which is a steakhouse on the
Okay,
west side of Madison, right across
nice.
from Chuck E. Cheese. So, should you
Wow. So should you
should
want to
you
drop off your children somewhere so you can have a nice steak
yeah,
dinner,
go have have steak and then go play some nice slots and get some tickets to get, 5,000 of them to get like a stuffed animal or something. Yeah, perfect, perfect. But
Perfect.
very good brandy Manhattan's very good.
Yes.
Yeah, all around good stuff. Steak, seafood, chicken, the whole nine yards.
Love.
Garlic mashed potatoes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't eaten steak
What's your
out
favorite?
much. But I mentioned this
Yeah.
before, like, I say tornado. I don't know if it's technically like the people I was with called it the tornado rather than tornado anyway, but like the Tornado Nado Steakhouse in Madison. Fantastic. Like steak cooked the way you asked for, like which to me is like medium is my niche spot, and just melt in your mouth, like just fall apart, kind of cooked just
Yep.
to perfection. Just
Mhm.
nothing better if you're a carnivore. Okay, sushi.
Jin's Sushi in
Okay.
Greenfield. Um, I think it's during the week. I've gone a couple times. I believe I think any weekday. I don't right now. I've gone like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or maybe a Thursday. They have like the menu, but then they also have an all you can eat sushi for like a flat rate.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I mean, a big variety of appetizers. They have it's kind of like ice cream dessert type thing. I mean, it's like a tiny little scoop. I forget what it's called, but
Mm,
it comes in a couple different flavors, but really good. I mean, full service bar in there, pretty popular place. But yeah, they like it's always fresh when I've gone for it. So yeah,
fresh is good.
it's your favorite.
Fresh
Yeah.
is good. I've only
Fresh
eaten
of the
sushi
Midwest.
2 times. 2 times is all I've eaten,
Yeah.
like real sushi, like traditional
Yeah.
sushi in a restaurant. First time was in Middleton, and the name of the place is escaping me right now, but it was great. Like, super fresh, all the things. It was wonderful. But then you and I went. Help me with the place that you and I went in Milwaukee.
Screaming tuna.
Yes. And I thought that that was, I mean, the Middleton place was really good, but like I thought that the place that we went was better. So
Yeah.
there you go. There you go. All right. Well, I'm not like I had two other ones, but we're gonna skip the last one because we've clearly like really knocked the whole brandy old fashioned argument out of the park. So the last one that I'm gonna hit on
Oh,
in this round robin.
I will say though, I will interrupt and say, if you want a good Manhattan, go to the old fashioned.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair. You get your plug in
Tuna,
for that.
the best Manhattan I've ever had in there.
Look at that.
Like, yeah. I mean, I've watched people make them at home. I've never made one myself, but it's brandy, vermouth, shot of water. And some people do bitters. I think that's horrifying. You
Yeah,
can
I
do
don't like
cherry,
bitters.
but I like it with an olive, like brandy Manhattan with an
Okay,
olive.
look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you
Yeah.
go. I'll be
Yeah.
sure to put a dill pickle in your next one too, just as a,
It's just
little
horrifying.
garnish.
No.
All right, so the last in this round robin game is probably the most important thing that we'll ever talk about in Wisconsin foodie land, which is the Bloody Mary.
I'll say the Wicked Hop, which is a restaurant in Third Ward in Milwaukee.
Love it. Love. And we went to, did we not
Yep.
have Cafe Hollander?
Yep.
That was my best, out of the ones I've consumed publicly,
Mhm.
like Cafe Hollander. Yeah. And but I want to go to these places that have like full on like little fried chicken, like a full meal on top. Because let's face it, they're a meal.
There's one, I think there's two places in Milwaukee that are known or kind of compete for it or whatever. It's Sobelman's and AJ Bombers. And I believe
Yes.
Sobelman's has the one where there's an entire chicken on top of it.
So crazy. I love that so much.
Because, Wisconsin. Also, I will never forget, so just for anybody in case you're not aware, in Wisconsin, if you go out somewhere and order a Bloody Mary, it's custom to have a chaser, like a
Yes, it
small
is.
glass of beer, which is not the case outside of Wisconsin in most places. As evidence, I will just never forget. I think it was in DC. Again, about a decade ago, I was there with people, and I don't remember where it was. It was a nicer, like brunch place. We were sitting at the bar somewhere, and I don't know. I think I got a mimosa. Maybe I got a bloody. I don't remember. I kind of thought it was common knowledge, but I didn't realize one of my friends down the line had ordered a Bloody Mary, got it, and then she asks, well, where's my chaser? And the bartender was extremely confused. He was like, what? What do you mean? She's like, well, what beer do I get with it? And he's like, do you want a pint of beer with it too? She's like, well, is there like a specific one you recommend as the
What's the
chaser? So just
standard?
want to notify for everybody. Back to how Wisconsin, a lot of alcohol. Not every place thinks that you need to chase a bloody mountain with beer, but we do in
Which you
Wisconsin. So.
absolutely do. Like, if you're gonna do it, you better do it. You
Yeah,
know
well,
what I mean?
you gotta balance out the tang of the spice.
Yeah, it's spicy, depending on how spicy you like them. Now, so this is not a restaurant thing, but I will say, like, as someone who really likes Bloody Marys, my favorite, I was gonna call it over the counter, like a prescription drug, but like the favorite, like, buy it in a store, favorite store bought is Mr. T's. Or
Okay.
Mrs. T's. It's either Mr. or Mrs. T's. Anyway, it's like got T's in it, and the bold and spicy
Okay.
mix of that particular brand, I think, is just like the right level of spice, not too much, because like I don't enjoy it if it gets like, you got like just like you just poured hot sauce in it. Like why? But you have to have a little kick, you know?
Yeah. I gotta feel something. I'm
So
done inside.
yeah,
I want to feel something.
I want to feel something. Do you have a favorite mix that you buy in the store?
I've never bought an over-the-counter mix. I'll confess.
I love that we're calling this
I've had
OTC.
a
I think we should call this now
yeah.
OTC. OTC Bloody
Oh,
Mix.
that's what I think we should. I think we should start. I think we should start a mix. It can be the Snarking Lot Bloody Mary mix, OTC mix. No, I've never physically bought one, but I mean, I've had some from other people. Like, if I happen to be somewhere, relatives or somebody had it and made them. Like, I don't know what the mix was, but I like them. But no, I like kick to it. Like I said, I want to
Yeah.
feel. I want
I
to.
want to feel something.
If I'm gonna have to be reminded I'm alive, well, we might as well make it spicy.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well feel some emotions like while you're having a Bloody Mary, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that'll be the most emotionally gifted part of my day.
Yeah, like whatever you do to feel things. Whatever you do to feel things.
Exactly.
So
Whatever over the counter needs you.
we need
Over
a
the counter
snarky
method.
lot mix. You know who's got, did you see? Do you follow Mr. Charlie Barron's on social? I believe he has his own brandy now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it's
There you go.
Barron's
See,
brandy. You gotta check it out.
See, there's a spot then for us. There's a spot for everybody in the liquor community, in the alcohol
There
community,
is. The
Wisconsin.
influencer liquor community. There
Yeah,
is.
there's a spot for everybody. So I think we should make a snarking lot. OTC BM.
OTCBM. Brittany, based on prior things in this conversation, let's take the acronym BM out of it. Okay? Like, let's make
Why?
sure that we don't have
Why?
BM anywhere near this
Why?
conversation.
Why? Gallbladder approved. Come on.
Straight from stomach, no filter, straight
Mhm.
out. No filter.
Mhm.
Okay, Brittany, this maybe wasn't in the epi outline, but I feel obligated to say what I'm gonna say next for a couple of different reasons. So bear with me. You're gonna laugh. And I wonder if you can predict where I'm going. I'll pay you money if you can predict where I'm going.
I can almost never predict where you're going. I don't mean that in a bad way.
Of course you do, but I love you anyway.
No, I
So
don't. I like to be surprised. Not really.
so I feel like there's a merging of like our last episode we were talking about like iconic Wisconsin places with the current episode topic, which is food. That there's kind of like this middle ground of like an icon that is really like so Wisconsin. There's no other way to say it. Now do you know where I'm going?
Would it be a market of farmers?
No, no, no.
No, I don't
You're
know.
gonna be really disappointed in yourself when you don't get
Probably.
this.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, wow, I really messed up.
Hmm.
Um, you're gonna have to go have a Bloody Mary to feel things after this. So, Quick Trip.
Ah,
The Quick Trip empire is so beyond anything that like Wisconsin icons can offer. And I'm saying this as a place of like, in all sincerity and all seriousness, jokes aside about like rural communities sometimes only having maybe a Quick Trip as a place where people are able to get like grocery store staples, right? Because there's so
hmm.
many Quick Trips and like they serve as like a much more than a convenience store, gas
Mhm.
station, but also like they have solid food for being a quote unquote gas station
Yeah.
chain. This is a
Oh yeah.
big shout out to Quick Trip right now because you know I love them for their marketing. Like, because their marketing is so hilariously spot on in the humor department.
As a marketing aficionado, it tickles Cassie's mango.
You are correct.
Hmm.
Shout out Quick Trip because Quick Trip, this is your warning. You are going to start getting DMs about coming on this pod to talk about your marketing and the
We're
reasons
gonna
why you're an
we're
empire.
gonna we're gonna hold you at what? Pickle point? Not knife point.
Yeah, we're
Right.
gonna hold you at pickle point. We're gonna
We're gonna
hold
hold
you
you at
at
egg roll point. Get on
egg roll
here.
point, roller grill. Also, shout out to Brian Hansen who wants the return of the small roller dog. Brittany, go research that on the social media and you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Uh, okay.
Okay. Right.
Uh-huh.
So there is not like honestly, if you're gonna stop at a place for a quick in and out where you need food and you need it to not be shitty and you need like a good rest stop for like a clean bathroom. This is one of their claims to fame, like clean
Yes.
bathrooms all the time. Like you don't have to worry about a quick trip bathroom, and that's really important.
I will say, as someone who's traveled a lot around the state for work and whatnot, long days, been all over, I can attest to that. I would be so happy, or I have like held in the urge to be when I see the sign, be like, nope, I know this next one exit up ahead has a Quick Trip. Never mind. I'm not going to this one with these other gas stations. Or you know
Heck
what?
yeah.
I know what the town 10 miles up has a Quick Trip right by the
Yeah,
freeway. So fuck it. Not doing it. I will
that's
get a
right.
UTI. I don't care to be able to be in a clean place to squatty potty. Like, no, we're not doing that. And
That's
yes, like
exactly right.
I've never had Quick Trip food and then felt the need to go back and visit the bathroom again.
Quick trip
Like,
food
or got
solid.
felt like I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
They
Hmm.
have a lot of solid, and again, we're talking about restaurants, but this is a genuine view. Like if you need like that convenience store stop and you don't want to worry about it, about the food you're consuming, Quick Trip is your place. Like Sorry, everywhere else. The only thing, and this will probably get them to not come on this podcast, but I'm going to say it anyway. The only thing that anyone rivals them with in the convenience store realm, Casey's breakfast pizza. I will lay down my life for a Casey's breakfast pizza in the breakfast pizza realm. That's it. That's my love. Quick Trip, I love you. I love you so much. But if there's any game you need to up, it's your breakfast pizza game. Okay? That's it. Everything else is top notch. Out of this world. Brilliant and amazing. But your
Do they
marketing,
even
most
have
importantly, the best.
just quick pizzas? I'm asking that genuinely. I have no idea.
Yeah, they do. They do. They have like full ones,
Okay.
like take home ones to bake, but also like occasionally they'll have like like
Oh.
individual slice ones as well. Yes. Yeah. But
All I've ever
research
seen
Brian
was
Hansen.
sandwiches.
Research their social media because Brian Hansen, shout out man, wherever you are, he's so upset that they took away the small hot dog option off the roller grill, that they only have the jumbo hot dogs. Brian Hansen goes on every post of their social media and says, like, whatever the topic is, he relates it back to, well, da 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 da, but like small roller dogs. Okay. So then I go comment on their
That's commitment.
posts and I go things like, I'm just here waiting for Brian Hansen to talk about small roller dogs.
That's commitment.
They're amazing. The egg rolls are the best egg rolls, and their take-home meals are also pretty cool. Like the fact that they have take-home meals is pretty nice. Anyway. Okay,
Yeah.
Brittany, do you have any last parting hot takes on food before we do our last section?
I don't like hot dogs, so bring back the mini rollers, whatever.
It's
My
in
life is
Brian's honor, people. Can you this man is committed to you. Like, why will you not bring it back? Come on this pod and talk about honestly, it has to be inner office politics about not bringing back small roller dogs at this point.
probably because if they were popular, you'd think they would bring them back, like,
Right?
or every now and then at least.
He will make sure
If
your
they can
profit
bring,
margins work out himself.
I mean, if McDonald's can bring back the pile of shit they call the McRib every now and then, you would think that
McRib.
Quick Trip could bring out its mini little rolls of hot dog.
Rolls of hot dog.
Every now and
Rolls of whatever
Yeah.
in hot dogs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Brittany, let's do it. Let's do the last check-in. You reading anything different than you were talking about last time? You still in that really delightful land of the Epstein book, or what?
I finished book one of that, and so I'm actually rereading a book called by Catherine Miles, in honor of I believe it was like June 20th it came out. They did a press conference saying that they had identified who they believed to be the person who committed the Shenandoah murders back in the 90s, and conveniently something else who has died. And it was kind of sketchy how there's a lot of unanswered questions, but rereading it because it talks not only about the murder and kind of the bullshit around it, in connection with the Colonial Parkway murders. But so if anybody who doesn't know, this is it was a lesbian couple who was found brutally murdered right off the Shenandoah Path in the late 90s. And was the investigation not handled great. For one, they didn't release it for a long time, so there were a lot of people in the park who know this had happened. They kind of tried to brush it off and just go, oh, it was like a hate crime. At one point, they were like, oh, it was a bear attack. Problem being one or both of the women was like tied up and different things, which I don't know. I haven't read about a lot of bear attacks where victims have been bound and like one's been dragged off separately, and like sexual assault and stuff. But if anybody knows of any,
I was gonna say, pay me to be an investigator because I can crack that one without much effort. So
yeah. Well, and then they were fixated on another guy and basically ruined his life, even though it really didn't add up. And so come to find out from other DNA stuff they looked at that totally wasn't him.
wow.
Guy, but they've made his life a living hell because he was going to get tried for it, then he got let off for it, and so he could never compensated for all of the lost money. I think it was like 15,000 a year he was eligible for. He couldn't do it because he was never actually formally
Wow.
put in jail for it. He basically kind of went into witness protection, like lived like kind of very off grid because every community they would get alerted, like, oh, this guy's been wanted for the murder of these two women and other
Yeah.
things. And then July 4th weekend, randomly, somehow he was biking somewhere on a road in central Missouri, and apparently supposedly sheriff's deputies watched it as he was just hit and run in a vehicle and died. So they don't even think he
Oh,
was aware this other guy had gotten that it was formally
wow.
announced. It was like officially cleared because he was like didn't have a cell phone, was very, very off grid. Like his lawyers and family tried to reach out to him, but hadn't been able to get a hold of him yet. Apparently he knew central Missouri, so people are like, that's kind of random. He was there. And then yeah,
Wow.
15 days after it gets announced, he's dead. So has that make up for. So I'm rereading it because it's basically this author, Catherine Miles, who did a lot of work and investigation into it and kind of looked at, it was written about a year or two ago, but kind of exposed how it has not been a great investigation. She actually was not alerted to, like, she was kind of a nemesis. She was kind of painted as a dark figure by the FBI to the victims' families because she was the one saying, well, original guy, Dale Rice does not fit the profile, or like there's
Yeah.
just stuff that does not up. He wasn't there. He wasn't in the area at the time. So they also acted the timeline of the murder to try and make it fit. All this shit. So then they did what they do and they did a random like press conference.
Of
Like
course.
I think it was June 20th, and like didn't alert Catherine Miles. The families give very much notice. It was like a 23-minute press conference, and they've just like, oh, DNA we've gotten. It's like we sourced it out to a private lab, and it's like, well, why are you doing it to a private lab? Why are you
Mm,
the FBI? Why are you not doing it? But yeah, there was a lot of stuff, and so it also talks about the Colonial Parkway murders, which was another set of murders of um kind of around the same time. And like knowing with this guy, so he was in jail, he died in 2018, but it's like he probably committed others that we don't know about, or he could be tied to others, but we may never know. So yeah, I'm going back and rereading it just to see. So, yeah,
wow.
I went with something lighter after the Epstein stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the big takeaway here, Brittany, sorry, is that you love really happy light reading. That, like, this
I do.
section really hammers home that you just love to be happy when you read.
Don't worry, my next book is like a hockey rom-com, so we're going, it's fine, we'll go lighter. And then we're gonna read a book on the
Yeah.
Challenger. I got my next two books lined up
Yeah,
for the
you're gonna
life.
just boomerang yourself back and forth. I get it.
Yeah,
That's,
I like
you
to have
know,
emotional whiplash in my reading.
right? Right?
Who doesn't?
Dear
So
Lord.
what are you reading on a maybe happier note, but probably not? What are you
No,
reading
I'm
since the
still
last
reading
time?
the Accidental Saints one, like, because I'm a very slow reader, as you know, and it's really good though. Like, I'm really enjoying it.
Oh,
It's like, a very non-traditional pastor, like female Lutheran pastor, kind of just talking about her journey of like, finding, you know, perhaps finding more God-like people and people that look traditionally less God, like less God-fearing, which resonates with me on a personal level. So I like it. I like it. I'm enjoying
nice.
it. It's a short read. I should be done soon, and I will report out when I am done. What goals have you got in mind? My water one still stands. I have to just pound the water so I feel like a human being again.
That's partially mine. I did not do a great job this week. Get warm again. And I'm like, dry. Today I did not do a good job of it. I'll say my goal for next week is I'm watching a farm. I talked to you about this already, but they have new barn kittens. So my goal is to not trip and fall and break my over one of the kittens when they come running out if I go outside for something to do chores. Because they are young and they have not yet learned to not walk in front of you when you're walking. Like they're cute and it's great
Yeah,
when I'm standing. But I try to walk her, they'll away, then they'll come running up and then
great.
get in it. I'm like, no, when I'm carrying stuff, let's not do that. So my goal is to make it through Wednesday make it through the next
without
few days
tripping over
without
kittens.
tripping over a cat. So I have high goals for this week, is what I'm saying.
I like it though, because if you trip over a cat, you could kill it. So I like,
Yeah, exactly. I don't really, and these are very little, these are very young
yeah,
kittens. So I'm like,
sound
I don't,
adorable.
I don't want to trip over S'more and Inky Binks. So no.
Hey, I told you my very, very large, very 2+ old, orange boy Tabby has this real affinity for the similar thing. Like he's smart enough to know better, but he likes to make me either like, jerk my lower back to like avoid him and feel like I like pull something in my upper legs or my lower back, avoiding killing him. So this is a
One
this
of
is
the
a
other
cat of all
cats,
ages thing.
yeah, yeah. Well, one of the other cats I've watched, he was a rescue, and so I was like, oh, he doesn't. He was a little bit older, but I was like, oh, he was caught like in the in like the wild for a while, and I'm like, oh, so he just has no concept of it. So like I would notice, especially on stairs, or he'd be going down in front of you and then stop as you're going to put your foot down on the stair.
Oh.
It was always really terrifying. And true enough, the last year, one of his people tripped over him, fell and like broke her like ankle or her foot or something, like on the stair.
Oh
Like, oh God, that
no.
could have been me. That could have been me, because oh boy, oh dear.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. I averted a
no.
crisis today. Like if I would have landed about like 6 inches to the right of where I landed, avoiding my cat, I probably would have like broke something in my foot.
Ugh,
So, it's a real
yeah.
deal. It's a good goal. It seems obvious, but it's legit.
Don't
I
trip
like
over it.
it. Don't trip over cats of any kind. Okay, so, our news segment, right? Like what stuff you want to talk about in the news, dumbest shit in the news, anything in the news. I think I'm gonna hard pass on this one. Like I think I'm just I'm newsed out. I'm newsed out. I'm avoiding social media because of the news. I know the news that's going on, but I'll just say like two quick things.
Mhm.
Again, language alert. What the fuck? And I'm looking forward to the 2028 election cycle being boring, and I'm out. How about you?
I big enough to just sit back and watch everybody just make complete fools of themselves. I mean, it's been going on for a while, but uh, everywhere, just lots of people in both major, rooting for both major parties. I'm like, oh dear.
Mm, mm,
Ugh.
mm.
First off, I'm going to say, if you're going to have your BlackRock CEO be your treasury person, and then city, I forget what bank, be your Fed person, Fed Reserve, not great. That's not draining the swamp. Number two, party of the people can't claim to be the party of the people if you're conveniently not having primaries and then magically decide you need a different candidate. Like that doesn't
Ooh,
really.
over here, I'm putting my fist in front of my face and going, ooh, I like it. I like
It's
it.
just
If I
amazing to watch. Yeah, do go on
like
about how you're the party of the people. Sure,
love,
democracy. Ooh.
love. Yeah, no election stealing. I like it. I like it.
And yet Russia's the one interfering. Sure, cool. Or Central and South American countries don't have fair elections. Uh-huh, sure, cool. Uh-huh.
Oh, you're so spicy. I love it. This
No,
is why it's the snarking laugh. We
I'm
always get
just
to the
that like
snark right at the end. I like it. It just like we cap it
I'm
off
just
with
that
the snark.
Mhm. I'm just that tub of popcorn that I'm going to be having, just sitting back and watching. I mean, the meltdowns have already started
You know what kind of tub
online.
of popcorn we need actually now that you've brought up like the visual of how large it needs to be? Do you remember the scene in Patch Adams, one of my favorite Robin Williams movies, where he swims an entire swimming pool full of spaghetti?
Yeah. Yeah, we need
That's
that
what we need. We
we
need
need that.
popcorn in that,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like full butter
Mm-hmm.
popcorn, just swim in it. That's what we need for what's going to happen the next few months and then also the next few years.
Mm-hmm.
So just
Mm-hmm.
picture Robin Williams flailing around in a big old vat of food, but like put us in it and with popcorn.
I would obviously not like the assassinations to be repeated, but it's amazing how much this is like mirroring 1968.
Look at you busting out some historical context.
Democratic like incumbent like is not going to run again, quote unquote, clears the way for the Republican. There's no clear
Mm,
person. Again, we'll skip over. I'm not saying the assassination, but the convention is in because of the assassination. RFK clears the way, which
mhm.
done by the FBI, clears the way for total bullshit to happen at the DNC, which was conveniently in Chicago that year. And
Wow.
people protesting all the crap, cracked down by the security states.
Wow.
So
Look at you.
let's see what August brings. But I'm like, wow, and they
Look at
and
you.
it's like
Look at you.
it's just one big cartoon.
It's really exhausting at this point.
It is.
Like it
It
is
is.
like legitimately like I told you before we came on here, like we saw the announcement, because this is Friends, this is the same day as this conversation is happening the same day that Biden announced that he won't seek re-election anymore. So I'm like, oh, I see the announcement. I'm like, let's turn on the news. And then you turn on the news and it's like we just in this house, we looked at each other after like having it on for a few hours and we could have left it on because they're going to have some more special reports and all this stuff. But it's like they regurgitate the same shit over and over and over all night. And it's like, it's exhausting at this point. Like, it's like so much whiplash and like so much just like, again, swearing alert. Like, there's so much bullshit like all the time. And it's like, you just gotta like, it's like pass,
Mhm.
you know? So I'm staying off social media. I'm still doing my only work, only personal little pet project adventures, social media for this very reason.
There you go.
Oh, goodness, Brittany. All right. Well, with that said, thank you for the snark, Brittany. You're the reason why this podcast is called the Snark Lot. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the namesake. And also, do you want to give everyone your advice and your ever classic sign off?
Everybody have a good next few days till we record. We drop another one. Stay vigilant, stay awake, and remember, always bring your logic to a dumb fight.
Heck yeah. With that said, bye.
Bye.